We love to try to guess what our horses might be thinking. We give them little thought bubbles, we narrate their interactions out in the field, but I wonder sometimes if this is really fair to our horses. This is a topic I'd like to discuss in today's video. If you're new here, I'm Callie, this is CRK Training, and this is my weekly video show. And today we're talking about horse personality and also the idea of anthropomorphizing and how it can be a good thing, but how it also has a downside. So anthropomorphizing is just the process of assigning human qualities to an animal. And the positive side of this is I think that when we can relate some of our own feelings and our own emotions to animals, we can have some more empathy and some more compassion towards the animal, towards our horses. But at the same time, the problem begins when we go too far. So when we either expect the horse to understand things or to learn things in contexts that we as humans can understand, but as a horse, they think differently, they learn differently, and they perceive differently. So when people say phrases like, "he doesn't respect me," or like, he did this just to make me angry, or "he knows better," we have to be careful with those kind of phrases because we don't truly understand what the horse is thinking and how the horse really feels and experiences emotion. So what I want to do is share the framework today of personality. And this is one of the most common frameworks in personality for people. And I think it can be useful to kind of consider how our horse might fit into this framework. But when I share this, I want you to consider it really loosely. So use it as a way to maybe kind of understand how your horse is different and how each horse is truly an individual, and they do have personalities just like people do. But I would encourage you not to take it too far. One of the downsides of just personality assigning, or I think sometimes personality testing in general, is it's a lot of fun. It gives us a lot of insight into ourselves and to others, but we do have to be careful not to generalize too much and just assign any person or any horse to too strict of a personality standard. Because one of the interesting things about personality is it is malleable, it changes, and we often don't really understand sometimes how or how much a personality can change. So the model that I'm going to share with you is called the Big Five personality traits, and a good way to remember these is they spell out the word ocean if you list them down. So the first one is openness to new experience. So we could kind of say this is the degree of curiosity that an individual has. And then the second one is conscientiousness. So this is how clean is an individual, how much do they seem to kind of take care of their space, take care of their environment. And the interesting thing with horses, and I think how this could potentially apply to them, is I know just here at my farm we have some horses that will just trash their stall, and then we have other horses that just go in like one neat little pile. So we have openness to new experience, and then we have conscientiousness, and then we have extroversion. So this is extrovert, introvert. The basic definition of extroversion is how much energy is gained from outside, like from being around others, versus if energy is gained from being alone and kind of from within oneself. The next one on the list is agreeableness. And this is just, is the individual, do they tend towards wanting to please others, or do they actually go the other way and tend towards first kind of being in opposition towards others? The last one is neuroses, and you can think about this as basically just the level of sensitivity. And this is actually the reason that I wanted to kind of introduce this whole framework, because I think this helps us to understand our horses from the common complaint about horses is their level of spookiness and reactivity. So when we think about this in terms of personality, each individual is going to be a little bit different in their level of sensitivity. And the same is true for our horses. So speaking really kind of broadly and generically, a fine-boned Arabian is going to tend to have a higher level of sensitivity and reactivity to their environment than a big draft horse. So when we're thinking about this in terms of working with our horse and what we expect from our horse, we have to take into account that some of our horse's behaviors are just part of their personality. So we can always change behavior, we can always teach our horse new things, and we can help them to overcome potential poor experiences that they've had in the past. But there's some elements of who they are that we need to just accept for that. Now, I would love to hear from you. So I'm really looking forward to your comments on this one. And what I would like you to comment on is, of these different personality traits that I listed out, what is just one that kind of stood out to you where you thought, oh, this gave me just a little bit of insight into my horse, and maybe it helps me to kind of understand a certain part of my horse's personality that I hadn't thought of before. So I can't wait to read your comments. Make sure you put your comments at crktrainingblog.com. That's where the best conversation happens. Loads of more resources for you over there. And actually this video is part of a little series on better understanding horse spookiness that you'll find really interesting, and you can watch the rest of the videos in this series at CRK Training Blog.